Welcome back to the Big Idea Summit here in Chicago. My guest now is Marcus Olsen. He is Vice President Procurement at Leggett & Platt. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you very much.
So we wanted to ask a quick question around if we look at the business environment, GDP is growing at great 4% plus. Tax reforms are in place. Stock market's up. So overall, business is booming. However, there are some clouds on the horizon in terms of tariffs imposition and then the trade war, which we're now embroiled in full-fledged with one of our largest partners in China. So I wanted to ask from a procurement executive, how is this affecting from an inflationary perspective, rising costs, or other impact on a large manufacturing company like yourself?
Well, certainly the tariffs and the trade war, the alleged trade war, are having an inflationary impact on the supply side of what we buy. A company, most multinational company is probably well entrenched in the China trade, and so this is certainly something that we're needing to plan for in two different terms, both the short term and the long term. So in the short term, we look at ways that how can we mitigate what's going on? Are there other sources of supply that we can source from? Are there other countries that we can source from? We're asking our multinational suppliers whether they have plants in other places in the world besides China, besides the affected countries, or outside of the affected the items that we're buying. In the longer term, you've got to look at your overall sourcing strategy. What is going to keep us from moving to supply bases that are in countries that are not affected? Nearshoring, for example, going to Mexico and utilizing the supply bases and the experiences that we've had there in our past is certainly something that we're looking to do, albeit it's going to take a little bit longer than this short-term 3 months, 6 months that we're getting in terms of how these tariffs are coming online in our businesses. So.
Okay, excellent. And that reminds me of another discussion I was having with a CPO in which we were talking about labor. So segueing into the challenges of nearshoring. So the impact of that, whether, once you come here, now you've got NAFTA implications, right? If that also blows up, it's a whole other set of challenges. So this executive brought up an interesting point. It's like, for us, labor plays a big part in this is because whether it's internally for us to have the right people in our company that can go and qualify new suppliers, find new suppliers, vet them, or our suppliers not having people enough people to meet capacity, right? To meet the demands that we have. So they're feeling it from both sides of this labor crunch right now. So tell us if you're feeling any of this impact as well too.
Well, certainly, you mentioned it in the very beginning of your comments that we have a booming economy, and labor is something that is causing heartburn throughout organizations, at least in this country. When the economy is growing like it is now, and we're having job growth and also restrictions on immigration and the like, then the supply of labor becomes important. And it's not just the supply of any labor, but it's the right kind of experiences that we're looking for. So if we're talking back to tariffs again, we have a labor force that is well versed in how to source in China and how to source in Asia and maybe Eastern Europe, Turkey, for example. As tariffs come online and we look at more towards a long-term strategy of nearshoring, then finding labor that is in skill sets that are more attuned with working with Mexico, working within the NAFTA infrastructure is going to be much more important. And again, that takes time, and it takes time not only to train the people to do these jobs, but it takes time to train the suppliers about what our expectations are, and to maybe retrain them, from 20 years ago into what our expectations are in the 20 teens supply chain that we're looking at right now. Longer term, down the road, I would think that portfolio management is something that we ought to practice. We don't know what's going to happen with tariff laws. We don't know what's going to happen, or if there's going to be a trade war with just China or with other countries or other entities as well. There's no way we can predict that. But what we can say is that having a strong portfolio reduces our risk. And so making sure that we have people and suppliers staffed and ready to go no matter what happens in the global economy is going to be a low-risk strategy, a low-cost strategy for us in the long term.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you.